Welcome everyone. Bonjour. Herzlich willkommen. Buenos dias to this live radio variety show emanating from the cosmic radio receptors of KCIW LP 100.7 FM, located in lovely coastal Brookings, Oregon. By the way, Jacques, this is my subtle foreshadowing of our guests today.
Your subtle foreshadowing?
Subtle. My name is Dr. Gigi, and you are tuned in to this week's edition of Doc
Jacques.
My co-host, as
Jacques.
always, is Jacques Wolf Kepner. Jacques, how in the frickety heckety do are you today?
Doc, I'm doing finer than an advanced airline.
We will continue to start each week's show with a segment full of interesting medical relevant topics we call MD10.
MD10, according to the doctor. And after her interesting medical tidbits, I will introduce this week's guests for a creatively composed, colorfully cosmopolitan, consequentially cordial, charming conversation with our coastal community celebrities that are in the studio with us.
We will try to top off the hour with a fun time corner filled with quotes and
the
jokes.
best jokes, clean jokes.
Yeah, best jokes. Any shout-outs you want to start?
Yes, we want to shout out to Victoria. Hey, Victoria, thanks for putting up with me. And Janice. Janice, we know you're listening. Dr. Sherry and Chris in the Midwest. And we've got Dave. Jaden, how about you? You want to take over?
Hoppy Purdy, Kelly.
Hoppy, what's going on, brother? Annie and John are listening.
Jared, Susie.
Jared, Susie. Oh, Jaden and Jared and Grant and Vera.
Peter and
Betty. Peter and Betty, welcome to listening to our listening family and all those others out there that are listening. We really, truly appreciate all of you listening, and we have some wonderful guests and a fun time today. But before we get to that, we're going to go into what is the subject that Dr. Gigi, my esteemed German-born, highly educated. She's worked in the Bronx and in London and in Louisiana and here and in Arizona. She's lived and worked everywhere as a doctor and a research scientist. What do you have for us today, Doc?
We have this fantastic subject of motion sickness. I wonder why.
I'm not feeling too good. Hold it.
Okay, motion sickness occurs due to the difference between actual and expected motion.
Actual and expected motion.
Actual and expected. That's pretty easy, right, to understand?
Yeah, sure it is.
So motion sickness occurs when the brain receives conflicting information from the inner ear, most likely, which is the inner ear balance system or vestibular system.
Vestibular, we talked about that in an earlier show. That's that's our balance. It's weird fluids in there and all those weird
in the inner ear,
inner ear stuff. Okay.
And what the eye see. Now, that is in quotation mark because I don't really believe it. For example, though, when you're in a car, your vestibular system senses our movement, but our eyes don't see the movement because we're in the car moving, right?
I got a question for you.
Yeah?
What happens if you're blind? Should I not ask?
Eye
Okay,
roll.
you go overhead.
This is my drum roll.
Okay, I'm sorry. I butted too early. Shoot. I'm in trouble tonight.
The symptoms of motion sickness include nausea and or vomiting and or cold sweats and or headache and or dizziness. So basically anything to make you feel weird.
Not good. Feeling
all
good.
Gone through it, basically. Here are some fun stats. Children between 2 and 12 are especially susceptible. Those are the unrulies, right?
I'm feeling it all the time, Doc.
Yeah, you're not in either 2 nor 12. Close. Adults over 50 are generally less susceptible, but luckily you're only 49.
Wait a minute. You told me you were 49. I'm 66.
Women are more likely to experience motion sickness than men.
No, I did not know that.
Have you had motion sickness before?
I have. I don't think so. It's ever since I was a little kid, maybe. But I've been around people that have been.
Yeah. So some people with a history of migraines or vertigo or other ear problems or Meniere's disease, that's what you have, are more prone to have motion sickness.
Very interesting. And what about on planes? Why do they put those little popcorn bags in the seat in front of you, the little pocket there? There's always a popcorn. That's what I collect them for.
Yeah, and to use them. Does it come with a pre-meditated sauce in there? Oh, girl.
Oh, Doctor.
So when the inner ear, during flight, when the inner ear senses that you're moving, but your eyes don't see it, then you might get motion sickness. However, here's the clincher, Mr. Take Away My Drum Roll. Blind people can experience it too. So it's not really associated with the eye.
Maybe it's not fully understood.
It is us non-blind people. We put everything in our eyes. When we see something, that's what rules, right? What the inner ear says, who cares? Because we see the horizon. We see that we're walking upright. We don't really feel too much. We're kind of ignoring our inner senses. So, but blind people have to depend on their inner senses. So if they're sensing something different, their ear feels something different, what they're supposed to, because they're sitting in an airplane where nothing moves because they're moving with the plane, but our inner ear senses an acceleration. That's when they might get seasick.
When I was a kid, I was taken from economy class, flying over the wing, to the first class because there was a first class passenger that was feeling sick, and the flight attendant told me later that she said, we want to put the people that are getting sick over the wing so they really can't see. They're just looking at the wing.
Looking at something stationary, right?
I remember that as a kid. I got to ride first class to Disneyland.
So 25% of the people actually experience motion sickness, but in real life, every single person can if the discrepancy is large enough of what you see and what you feel. So really, everybody can experience it, but not everybody does it doing car ride or flying.
Car, boat, or flying, right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's very
So let's talk about the motion sickness medication, which is the scopolamine patch you put behind the ear.
What is it called?
Scopolamine.
Scopolamine. I have some in my backpack right now.
You shouldn't.
Wow, scopolamine.
So it is made up of an anticholinergic belladonna.
You mean like the poisonous plant?
Poison, yeah.
Whoa.
So
Nightshade. Isn't that what you're saying?
I think so.
Nightshade?
Yeah. So that one stops whoever is a cholinergic nausea. It's the vomiting center that gets stopped or propped against. So it's not that you're not getting seasick or motion sick, you're just not getting nauseated from it. So that's how all those nausea any nausea medication will help, but usually they put the scopolamine patch over your ear because it can last over 3 days.
Wow. Okay. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's motion sickness. I am feeling just fine at this point. We're really excited about today's show, as many of you have learned and got the messages and the text and the Facebook notifications that we were having from very special guests today that we met, I want to say 5-6 months ago, or before then. It was approximately about 5 or 6 months ago. I don't know actually how long ago it was, but they are special guests. There is a visitor. As many of you know, we often have a visitor into the studio that can sit and observe, and we would be more than happy for any of you that reach out to us to join us in the studio and watch a live broadcast here at KCIW Studios. And shout out here to Jim Doc Bellardi, who was our guest just a few weeks ago. Jim, welcome back. You don't have a microphone in front of you, but you're giving me yes, he's giving me the salute, so it's all good.
He's happy to be here.
He's here, and he knows our guest today too, and has spent some time with him. Welcome to the Doc and Jacques Show here on the KCIW radio studio in Brookings, Oregon, and beyond. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show, where we will be exploring the fascinating world of aviation and its impact on our society, particularly in smaller communities, with two super interesting qualified guests. But before we get to them and such a captivating topic, I'd like to share with you this preamble. The story of human flight is one of ambition. It's one of innovation and perseverance. It took man and womankind tens of thousands of years to escape the boundaries of the Earth. Think about this. In the past 121 years, with the Wright brothers' first powered flight in 1903 to the supersonic jets of today, aviation has completely transformed our world, and in just a century, just over a century.
Right.
Aviation has facilitated in global commerce, It has connected the human family to distant lands, thereby allowing us to explore the planet like never before. And besides the great big long-haul routes that major hub airports avail to us, there is another vital aspect of air travel that often goes unnoticed, and that is the regional airlines that serve as lifelines for smaller communities like Brookings, Crescent City, Eureka, Medford, and beyond. Today on Doc and Jacques, we have the privilege of speaking with Levi Stockton, who is the president and founder of Advanced Airlines, and Barbara Hunt, vice president of business operations. It is Advanced Air, a relative newcomer to our regional area, that now plays such a crucial role in connecting all of us to the greater Western United States and beyond. Advanced Airlines is the sole air service provider to the coastal area of Crescent City, California, and just beyond Brookings, Oregon. We're all familiar with it. Advanced Airlines offers us the vital link between our beautiful coastal area to the Bay Area and the city of Oakland each and every day, and now, L.A., Los Angeles, several times a week. As we chat with Levi and Barbara today, we'll explore how regional airlines like Advanced Air is more than just a transportation provider. They are truly, I'll just say this, enablers of economic growth and caring connectors of family and communities. We'll delve into the challenges and rewards of what it is like and what it takes to operate in a regional airline and how Advanced Air's services impact the daily lives of residents in the area that it serves. Let's discuss the past, the present, and the future, and how these air links are shaping and reshaping the future of our smaller collective communities. So join us as we take flight into the world of regional aviation and discover the remarkable story of Advanced Air. So, ding, please fasten your seatbelts. With that said, Dr. Gigi and I are honored to have a candid, fun conversation with Barb Hunt and Levi Stockton. Welcome to the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show.
Welcome, you both.
Thank you. Thank you. We're very happy to be here.
Yeah. Lead it off, Doc.
All right. Well, you already gave it away in your prologue, but let's have it again. What are your titles and positions at Advanced Airline?
Levi Stockton, I'm president, founder, and actually a pilot at Advanced Airlines.
Nice.
Cool.
Barbara?
Barbara Hunt. I'm the vice president of business operations. I am not a pilot with Advanced Air. I do everything but that.
So where were you born and raised? We found out.
Barb, where were you born?
I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
I think I always had the aviation bug because my father retired from Continental Airlines. He also was not a pilot, but was on the business side of it as well. So always had aviation in my blood, but went to school in Colorado and Boulder, and then moved to California in my 20s.
Cool.
And it was supposed to be a quick turnaround, and, the rest is history. Been here a lot longer than that.
All right. How about you,
Nice.
Levi?
I was born in Seattle, Washington. Grew up with my mom there, but would travel every break to Fairbanks, Alaska to see my dad. So
Cool.
between those two spots.
Fairbanks and Seattle.
Yes.
All right, cool. And then you ended up, where do you live now? You live in the,
I live in Manhattan Beach down in L.A.
Los Angeles area. Okay, cool.
And you, Barbara?
I'm in Orange County, in Irvine, California.
And the hub of your operations is
Hawthorne Airport.
Hawthorne Airport, which is what, 3 miles?
3 miles southeast of LAX, right off the 105.
Cool. So it's a regional airport, but right next to a major hub airport, so it's really close.
Very close.
Yeah. And they never cross over, but there's a lot of activity there. Right?
Now, when did you first come here in this further away, more rural area of Southern Oregon and Northern
Yeah, remind me
California?
when we met. Son?
Well, we met when we launched in March, but I first came through driving with my kids up the coast the summer before that. So we flew into Santa Rosa and drove up through here and went to Hood River for my sister's wedding. So
Wow.
Where was that?
the wedding
Yeah.
in Hood River.
Hood River is east of Portland.
Oh, okay. But you drove up here through this, and you thought, oh, this would be a cool place to fly, or what?
Yeah, well, it's in the Essential Air Service program, so there's a handful of them that we look at, and it fell within our footprint of our area of operation. So definitely of interest, and it's gorgeous here.
How about you, Barb? When did you first get exposed to this area?
I first came up here. I mean, I had family that grew up in Washington and Oregon, but my first visit here was when we first came up, I think in October, and met a few people up here in October and said, we were interested in this market, and then worked closely with the Regional Airport Authority and the cities and counties and tribal governments to learn more about the community and see what we could do differently than what had been done before.
Yeah, and it was still serviced by Contour then.
Correct.
And so was that even up for grabs, or is it like a yearly contract so you could even imagine getting a contract?
Well, the contract that was in place was intended to expire at the end of September of this year, September of 2024. So we had come up in advance of that, just anticipating that the contract was going to come up for bid.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what do you like best about here?
Yeah, what do you like best about it, Harry?
Water.
Water or more
Well,
water?
you have that down in Los Angeles.
Well, they've got the ocean.
Oh,
but
pine trees. Pine trees. We don't have that.
And redwood trees. Redwood trees.
redwood
Redwood
trees.
trees. Yeah, there we go.
We don't have that either.
Big trees.
Big trees. And if you like that kind of thing, and you're up here now, and we met in March, that was when you had your grand opening?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
That's what. It was quite a crowd, right, at the airport?
It was right. Yeah, our first flight was actually on St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day. Okay,
Yep.
we were there. Doc was there.
Yep.
I mean, Doc Bellardi was there. We were all there, and that's when we first met you. And we went, we should get you into the studio and have you talk about advanced air. When, Levi, how and when did you decide to create an airlines?
In 2005, I got involved with my current partners, and we started our charter company. We were certified in 2007. And about in 08 or 09, maybe 2010, we looked at diversifying and started looking at scheduled service. And that's kind of the beginning of it. And then we slowly grew, mostly through New Mexico, and then into California, always with the goal of the Southwest as our area of operation.
Always based out of Hawthorne. That was a hub, right?
So that's your Hawthorne. Yeah, we have the master lease on the Hawthorne Airport, so we control everything but the runway and the taxiway there.
Wow, how cool is that? And you started in, I know you are in Utah. Don't you fly into Park City or where? No,
we're going to Mammoth. That's a ski resort we're going
I am
to.
so sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah, I should know that. And then you, New Mexico. Where in New Mexico?
We service Silver City, Carlsbad, Gallup, and Las Cruces, and they go into Phoenix and Albuquerque or both.
Phoenix being a major city, right? Obviously. Yeah. So is that still charter, meaning when you need a plane, somebody wants a plane, you wants to go somewhere or rather, so they say, can you fly us there type thing. Has it been the same planes? I mean, your planes seat 30 or so people?
Yeah, so I mean, we have 17, 18 airplanes. And so every type of airplane has a different mission and a different type of customer. So we have, 8-passenger turboprops.
Okay.
We have 8 to 10-passenger jets, and then we have 30-passenger jets. And so you may charter a jet to Hawaii or New York. You may take a King Air to Vegas. And if the 30-passenger charter is usually for like NCAA sports or something like that.
Oh, cool. So are you still doing the charter? I forgot what I was going to ask. Are you still doing the chartering?
Yeah. It's a piece. That's how we started. It's a major piece of our business.
It still is.
Yeah. We're about to add hopefully about 5 more aircraft that are solely dedicated to charter.
No, Barbara, that is more your job to do this paperwork or
Research.
Paperwork. I am
The research.
I am a master at paperwork. Trust me. Yeah, I guess you would say I'm very much involved in the business development side of things and the contracts and negotiations and kind of getting things off the ground as we add more business and all. And I work a lot with the airline team and the reservations and the customer service and the marketing.
I see. Now, how long have you guys been working together?
Well, we actually worked together at a previous company many years ago.
Yeah, so I've known Barb 20-something years.
20-some years.
Wow, cool.
I'm just a teeny tiny bit older than he is, but
Of course, you look younger.
thank you.
But Barb had been at Advanced Air 7 years?
Yeah, a
7.5
little over,
years.
7.5 years. Yeah.
That was
with
what I was going to
Advanced
ask you, how long you've been with Advanced. And what were the early days like? But either one, well, you've been there 7 years. How's it changed in 7 years, Barb?
Oh my goodness, dramatically. When I started, we had about 80 employees. We had not started any scheduled service yet. We had just gotten our commuter authority, so we hadn't done scheduled service yet. It was purely charter and then the FBO at the airport. And we've now probably doubled the employees. We probably have 160 employees. We have a secondary base in Phoenix, a lot of airplanes and pilots based in Phoenix. And we're flying upwards of 12,000 hours a year. So it's...
So pilots and stewardesses and stewards and such, they're yours. So they are employed by Advanced Air. They're not locums or such.
That's correct. They're all employed by Advanced Air, yes.
Oh, that's really interesting. So are they full-time, part-time, charter, whenever?
Full-time.
They're full-time? Dang. That's really
Wow.
cool.
And the early days were like, were you flying planes yourself, Levi?
Early days was me in one airplane flying at single pilot.
Wow. And it was just like
like
special
today.
charter. Just like today. Okay, wait a minute. Now, speaking of today, we got to talk about today because today, as most of you know, they were to have appeared with me on KFUG in Crescent City, and we were going to do a double show run. And they flew in this morning, and, well, Levi, tell us what happened briefly. What happened when you were flying into Crescent City?
Well, the coastal fog was there, and it was low, but it was looking okay when we took off, and it got a little bit lower, which is not normal. So we shot the instrument approach into Crescent City, went down to the minimum, which was about 300 feet, and didn't see the runway, so...
Told Barbara, keep an eye out for the runway.
Yeah, Barb was sitting up front. I was like, hey, let me know if you see the runway. And
It was like a full-on Disneyland ride.
You were in
It
a
was
Piper,
amazing.
you said?
Amazing.
we were at what are we flying today?
Piper Meridian.
Meridian,
Yeah.
yes. A single-engine turboprop. And so then we popped back up through the clouds. You know, it's a small layer. And then we went over to Brookings, it was clear.
And you've got it clear. So
And so we just landed straight into Brookings and then tried to figure out how to get down to you. And we didn't make it.
That's okay.
Didn't quite
They had
work.
to get
It's
the
this
cab
different
ride from-
states.
I suppose the cab ride took almost as long as the trip up here.
I know.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour flight in that plane.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Really?
Yeah.
That
That's a 2-hour
Yeah, a
flight.
little
with
over 2
small-
hours. Yeah.
So why did you fly in here at all? I mean, besides us, of course, coming to see us.
You got something going on tomorrow, right?
And something on?
We do, yes. We are presenting in front of the Border Coast Regional Airport Authority tomorrow afternoon and talking with them about extending our contract here. So we're looking forward to it and sharing some data on what we've done so far.
Extending the time or extending the different airports?
Extending the time, hopefully 4 more years.
So it's a 4-year contract, what you got? Cool.
Yes.
Excellent. We'll vote for you. Can we
Thank
vote?
you.
Yeah, we really like it. And a shout out to Danielle, by the way.
Oh,
right?
Danielle.
We got to
There
give
it is.
Danielle.
Oh, my
Danielle,
God.
we
Oh,
know
she's
all about
great.
it. And her
She's
two daughters, she has twins, right?
Yeah,
She has
yeah.
2 daughters.
Yeah.
And it's the funny stories that we could tell about flying and Danielle always being there. And at 7:30 in the morning, we like, what would you like to drink? Is that anything you want? And of course, doctor being German said, you have beer? 7:30 in the morning. I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating.
She would
But
say
you
yes,
did, and
but-
she said, "Sure, we'll give you beer if you want." So we took a beer for later on, right? I think it was a Coors. It was good.
Of course, light, yeah, and upward cars, yeah. So she was supposed to open it, but because we
Yeah.
didn't want to drink at 7:30, she gave it to us.
We had to wait till we got to SFO at 8, or we drank.
That was before we flew to Germany.
That's right.
When you're going to Germany, you don't have to wait until 8 o'clock.
right. You know, it's always 4 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly.
So, what were those early days like? It was just you flying airplanes.
Yeah, me and really one other person in the office, and really trying to make a business out of it. So we got the certificate November 15th, 2007, and rolled right into '08 where things kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, right.
really just tried to grind it out one step at a time, and just wanted to build a good business that brought good people together, and so slowly we've done that. 100
You
like Barb
were
said.
lucky. You said you have 150 employees or something now?
Yeah, we're about 160 employees.
160. Wow.
But I also want to point out that Levi also, when he said surrounding himself with people, he brought in colleagues from, other places where he had worked, trusted colleagues.
Donnie, our exec VP, was my flight instructor. Mike Wootner, DO, him and I started private pilot ground school together. Tony, our director of maintenance, I knew pretty much as long as Barb. So a lot of these are relationships I had for.
Well,
Right
then
on.
you know the people best, you would think.
You got to have collateral. I mean, you have to. I just think with starting an airline is not a frugal business. I mean, you got to have some serious money up front. So that was you must have had some good people there for you, your producers in the background.
I don't know about that. We started the company with $75,000.
Wow,
Never raised any money, and so it just really grinded it one step.
wow, and since 2007.
So you said you went to
Congratulations, man.
grad
That's a great
school. Did you go like flying all the way? Is that what you?
Flight school.
Flight school.
Yeah. So I went to flight school right out of high school,
Oh,
and
wow.
flew cargo, and then flew for the airlines, and then did this. So,
Nice.
Never spent any time in the military?
nope.
Yeah, okay.
Nope.
I haven't either. Well, I didn't. Doc, were you ever in the military?
No, not this week. No,
Okay. He said not in this week.
my brother got the flag.
There you go. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk about that.
So tell us about all the service, the areas that you service now. We said.
Say New Mexico.
New
You've got several
Mexico.
places. How many?
We actually serve 13 locations right now.
Okay.
And
Several
those are not charter. Those are
that's the scheduled service. Yes.
Scheduled, yeah.
Yes. 13, that's California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada.
okay.
So in California, it's Crescent and Merced, and
That's
they
right,
go
Merced.
into Hawthorne, Vegas, and Oakland. Those two, and then everything else is out of New Mexico.
Is it just Vegas? Is just Vegas? There's only one airport in Vegas.
There's several, but we fly into
We fly into the main one.
Yeah,
The main one.
Yeah, from Merced to Vegas.
and then we service Mammoth seasonally, a winter and a summer season.
And we're the only airline that serves 2 Carlsbads. Carlsbad, California, and Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Hey.
All be done right.
And the flight from Crescent to Hawthorne is the longest interstate flight in the state of California.
Okay, from Hawthorne to
To Crescent.
to Crescent. That's the longest one.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah, so be it.
Yeah, I mean it's basically traversing
So tell
over
us,
3/4.
what is a regional airport?
What is a regional airline? How's it?
Or regional airline? What is the regional airport versus? I mean, how many flights go off and on? How many terminals you have? Or
Well, airports are categorized, some by whether they're public or private, what type of rule they have. Do they serve just general aviation versus commercial aviation? And then they're ranked by enplanements, which is outbound passengers, essentially. So airports are categorized depending on number of enplanements as well. So,
Enplanements.
which is outbound passengers,
Okay.
boarded passengers.
One enplanement's one paying passenger departing.
so coming in doesn't matter. We just pretend what comes in has to go out. Type of thing.
Pretty much. They got to measure one way.
Comes in, must go out.
And that's also how airports are funded. Federal airports are funded by the FAA depending on number of enplanements as well.
So depending on how many enplanements there are, you're a regional or a huge airport.
Yeah, or they become hubs. They can be a small hub, a medium hub, a large hub. And in the Essential Air Service program, the goal of that is to provide access to the national transportation system
Yeah.
to these small communities.
I see.
And the airline has to serve either a medium or a large hub in order to qualify for that. So in that case, that would be Oakland. Sorry.
Yeah, Oakland, San Francisco. San Jose. Those are large, right? Okay, it is now, believe it or not, halfway through the show. I was telling Barb and Levi at the beginning of the show, it just goes by real fast when you're having an interesting conversation and good company in the studio. We are already at that halfway mark of this week's edition of Doc and Jacques. You are tuned into KCIW 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon, where we are proudly a non-commercial community radio station that is 100% volunteer-driven. Regardless if you sing, you do have a voice, and that is what this community radio station like KCIW does best. We are made up of local good folks just like you who care passionately about our lovely coastal village of Brookings, Crescent City, and beyond. If you have a penchant for community service, volunteering, and joining the KCIW radio family, I implore you, get involved, contribute, donate your time and money to an exemplary, local, nonprofit radio station like KCIW. You can find out more by visiting our website at kciw.org. All right, we are rejoining here in the studio with Levi Stockton and Barb Hunt. Levi is the president, founder of Advanced Air, and Barbara is the business operations end of the deal. And we are so happy to have you in the studio.
So I have to tell you a funny story. Was it March when you had the opening something rather in Crescent City?
Yep.
So we were all there, and the plane that came in, your plane, looked different from the plane that was there. Contour had a different kind of looking plane. So if you know Jacques, he of course has his little lips flapping and talking to people. And so he was standing there, he's saying...
With a big bunch of group of people in front of me.
He doesn't know, of course, right? He doesn't know any of those people. And then so the plane comes in and he says, and we all, well, this is a different looking plane.
Loud enough for everybody to hear, I said.
And so he goes, yeah, that's called a guppy.
It looked like a guppy to me. So I said, they call it the guppy. Okay.
And so this guy also with
one of your people, your main guys.
Yeah, turns around and I don't know.
He looks at me and says, sir, we don't call it the guppy. Louder than for everybody to hear. You know, I was like, I had two
Very
beers in my hand at that point. Oh, well. I just kind of hit myself in the head and turned around and walked out. Yeah, it was funny. I think he was your manager of operations. He was like visiting, but he looked at me and said, sir, it's not called the guppy.
Probably Sean.
Yeah, I think it was. He was nice guy, but that was my dumb moment.
It was hilarious.
But it was fun watching it. Now we've met two of your pilots multiple times. What are your two pilots that fly in?
Chad, maybe.
Chad?
Eric, maybe.
Yeah, one of them, it seems like he might be foreigner. A little bit. He's got an accent, does he not?
Oh, Alexa.
Alexa, or it's...
One of them seemed like he had an accent, but I think it's Chad that we met.
It was a young...
Wow.
So, once you're hitting...
Or Josh Carringer. Josh?
Once you hit 30 years old, everybody else looks young, and I'm only 31. But anyway, so they look so young, right?
They don't... I don't know. The pilots looked a bit older. They were okay. They were not...
14.
No, they weren't that young looking.
They were young looking to me.
But okay, speaking of the airplane, the guppy,
what kind of airplane is the guppy?
Sir, we don't call it a guppy. It's a Dornier 320 jet.
Oh yeah, Dornier. That's what we saw.
And guess what country?
Germany, or
Exactly.
Yeah, Dornier. Actually, I had a friend working for Dornier. I think it's a Swiss company that also works in.
But they're made in. It says it manufactured in Germany. I think
yeah.
we read the little flyer.
What you get to read, and the little pamphlet that we got in the opening ceremony thing. That was really cool.
How many people does it fit?
30.
30?
It's certified for 32, but we're only allowed to fly 30. So
there's only one really. So you don't have to squeeze in there because the seats are large, and you have. But the one on the exit seat size is a. Number 12 is really big.
Yeah.
What, the exit?
The seat, yeah.
Why, did I sit in it or something?
I love that you know which seat number it is.
We've been on the planes a few times. I'm crying here. Tears are rolling down because he made me laugh. Sir, it's not called a guppy. Oh, God, that is hilarious.
So it's a Dornier, and then we know already you have all these different names from charter to...
So they are manufactured, or they're engineered in the States, or engineered in Germany?
They were built there, but they only made 110 of them.
Really?
They don't make them anymore. This is the
Guppies?
328 jet, and then the 320. There's a turboprop version as well, and they're starting back up making. It's supposed to come out in 2025. The 328 Echo, which is a brand new version of the Dornier with a turboprop. So we're excited to see what that entails. But it's a very unique airplane. It has very good short field performance, and what big cabin and
Big cabin, and the wings are on top. That's why it looks so different, right?
yeah. It gives you a good view from the seats.
Yeah,
That's true. You didn't have to look
nice.
down and see the wings. So you'd be extra motion sickness, possibly, in the Guppy.
Oh, yeah,
Not,
you
not
don't
with
have
our
the
pilots.
wings.
No, yeah, not with your pilots. that's right.
One time I have actually flown from Salt Lake City to Jackson Hole or some of the Tetons in from Utah. Anyway, I was so sick. There were only two people in the plane, and the stewardess who said, we can't give you anything because it's too windy, and it was horrible. I really thought I would die, and I got out of the plane, and I was so seasick.
Did you get a popcorn bag?
See, I named it too. See, it's popularity.
We were only two people. I mean, we were and this other guy. We just looked at each other, just like, don't let us fall down now. I guess the people weren't, the pilots weren't very concerned, but it was the really, I don't know what kind of plane it was, but it was a small plane.
It's just the weather. It's not
scary.
the plane. Yeah.
It was the weather.
What's the life expectancy of those planes? Are they like, do you just keep switching out the engines on those, or the windshield? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, airplanes have an enormous amount of maintenance and everything has a shelf life or an hour or cycles of landing.
Oh, wow.
So you're always measuring it and doing maintenance. So these airplanes are weekly, sometimes daily. But these airplanes that in theory could operate forever. But what happens is they stop being supported by the manufacturer, so parts become hard. So that's kind of where you would look at finding something newer. So we're like 2028, 2032. We'll be looking at something newer.
What is the biggest plane? They're all the same planes?
No, they're
No,
tiny.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
The Dornier?
for what we do here in the 30 passenger, it's the Dorniers, yeah, and then
The Dornier.
but we have different types of airplanes for other things. Like we have Challenger 300s. Those are much smaller, like corporate jets, which would do Hawaii or New York. And then we have King Air 350s, which is like an 8-passenger turboprop, which is more.
So once you learn how to fly, can you basically fly any plane, more or less?
No.
Each one takes its own.
Yeah, anything over 12,500 pounds or turbojet, so powered by a jet, requires a type rating. So you have to go to school to get typed in that airplane, and then you have to stay current and proficient. But any airplane, you really have to have some type of training or stay proficient in it. So like our pilots are checked every 6 months and on multiple different types of checks, but and we only allow pilots to be current in 2 airplanes on the fleet. Usually it's only 1, but sometimes 2.
And the pilots intimately well. You've been working with the pilots for a long time. I remember about 4 years ago flying, I think, into Kansas City, and the pilot came on, or SFO to Kansas City, and it was a woman. It was a woman's voice as the pilot. And I was like, wow, a woman pilot. Because we just automatically think, well, like doctors. Many think it's a man doctor. We think of men
Pilots being men.
Pilots of being men. It's
An interesting fact, I think it was 2 years ago we had more female employees than male. I think it's equaled out a little bit. But
right on.
But that's overall employees, not
Overall,
pilots.
yeah.
We
But
do have female
quite
pilots,
a few,
but
handful.
yeah. And
Wow,
it's
you do
getting
have
to
A
be
handful
more
is
and
a
more.
lot.
It's getting to be more and more. Yeah.
Right on. We are big proponents of that. We have a lot of our shows highlight women that are talented and excel at what they do best. So good for you. Barb, what makes Advanced Air so different and special and unique?
I'll tell you, I was just explaining this when I was talking to the taxi driver today, and I said, we started as a private on-demand charter company, And that's, customers who demand a superior level of customer service. They're very, they have very high expectations. And we carry that over to the airline side. So I would say that makes us extremely unique. We are very much engaged and conscious of customer service. And any of our airline customers have access to anybody on the management team, as well as the customer service agents in front of them. We all get the same emails about feedback. We get the same questions. And, it's, I guess if you call it an open door policy with your customers, that's the same thing that we have. And we teach our agents, our pilots, everything, not just to do the technical job, but to do that level of customer service as well. And we empower them to make decisions on the front lines as they need to take care of the customer. So that's what's special about us.
Yeah, we like the people that we've met because the co-pilot and the pilot, they go out and then they greet people coming on.
Yeah, that was a
plane.
big plus.
And
That's
I think
cool.
they enjoy it too.
Yeah.
That's the other
Right
thing
on.
is that they love those relationships and they like to get to know the regular passengers and all of that.
And
I think
sometimes-
it's fun for them too.
And sometimes when they talk about, sometimes they're we're flying over 39,000 whatever feet. So, but sometimes they actually say, hey, my co-pilot is blah, blah, blah. Whatever, he flew in, I don't know, they made some funny, he flew for the...
Oh, yes. They were making jokes. It was funny.
about each other. It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And Danielle and I, we met a lot of them, actually. A lot of.
Have you guys met Shannon?
I believe so.
She's in Paris right now because her stepdaughter is in the Olympics.
Oh,
really?
really?
Oh, okay. I know Shannon. I met
Taylor
Shannon.
Spivey. Yeah.
She's going to be on TV tonight.
I think she's
Right?
on that.
Taylor Spivey,
Yeah.
and what is she?
What is she doing?
Triathlon.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
Right after this, I got to run the triathlon.
Yeah.
Get on out there, Jacques.
Get out there.
Yeah,
Take it,
start
Dave.
training.
What is all booking done online with the?
We actually, most of it is done online, although we have a toll-free number,
What is that number? Do you know right offhand?
1-800-393-7035.
7035.
7035.
7035.
1-800.
hope
But
that's
you
right.
can look at find it up easy enough by going
And-
advanced there.
AdvancedAirlines.com. Also, you can email our team at bookings, BOOKINGS, at flyadvancedair.com.
Just
So-
get a quick response in the email.
Yep.
And I know when you gave me both your cards, so I still have when we met in March, you're accessible. Both of you are accessible. You both have your cell phones there.
Yes, we do.
And it was cool because we had your cell phone today because
Yeah.
we had to communicate about you being late.
Yep. It's on
And-
my email. It's on my business card.
Yeah, that is great. It's good that you do that. You're accessible. You're just it just seems like a dynamic company that's not as young as I thought it was. I didn't know that you started the whole thing in 2007. So you've been at it for
Well,
a
it's because
while.
we look so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's flying high. So you're up there so high. It just makes you feel
Clean living. That's it. Clean living.
really clean living. Yeah.
How is it working with the TSA? Because the TSA is federally, right? But you go to TSA for each
Yeah,
different
we have
airport.
TSA in Crescent City.
Yeah, we have it in Crescent City. How is it? I mean, they're all different people always. Do you have any difficulties with it? Are you?
No, it's. I mean, our team. We have our director of security that does all of the engagement with TSA, and it's great. I mean, no issues.
So you have a personnel that just deals with the TSA. I mean, there's this.
Security and safety. So his name is Dion. He trains.
Oh, we met-
Yeah,
He
you
was
probably
there.
Met Dion.
I met
yeah.
Dion.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
And so he'll travel around and do like audits. He'll meet with the TSA. He'll do all of the in-house training to our employees, and work side by side to make sure that we're delivering a good and safe product.
So Jacques here has turtles, and he takes them to the
box turtles.
box turtles. that he-
Beautiful little Midwestern box. I've had them for years.
So we took them down to Oakland with flying this one, but that was they had never had turtles to check in the TSA. They said we don't know what to
know what
to do with this.
yeah, and so he said, no, they've flown.
They've traveled
many
around the world with me.
times
Those
with
turtles
me.
have never.
So he has this little bag. I don't know where he got it, but he wrote on it, turtle tote.
Turtle tote on the bottom.
And
I bought it at a thrift store. It was orange,
It's
and I made it
orange.
look because they said you have to have approved carrier for that. And I said, there it is. And
says
it's
turtle
nice handwriting. So I hear turtle tote underneath that. Put a little turtle thing. So there it is. And the lady looked, okay, fine,
Good to go.
good to go. TSA is not. They're not out there looking they just want to make it safe for everybody, and they're looking for certain things. They're not checking into everybody's personal stuff. Whatever you got in your suitcase is up to you, but just as long as it's not something that could be
bad.
dangerous to be flying with. So if you think it's 1-800-393-7035?
Yes.
Okay, that might be the best way you could do it, or just look online. Advanced Air is that. Where do you guys see yourselves, and where do you see? Let's ask Levi. Where do you see yourselves in 10 years from now? Where do you see the airline?
I see us growing, but not drastically. We just want to stay kind of in our region and deliver a good product and continue to, improve on what we have.
Right on.
And so I think, a lot of people get in over their skis and try to grow too quick and so forth. So, and it's a tough business. It's small margins and a lot of work, and everyone that travels, if anything goes wrong a little bit, they're not happy very quick. So you got to deliver a very high product to just stay ahead of it, and that's where we focus.
I have to say, when we came back from Germany, or I came back from Salt Lake City, and then we drove into Oakland and then up here, before I had to ask, where's Contour? People didn't know what Contour was, but this time, your airline was like actually, I could say this is where whatever gate so-and-so, and it's on time. And before, it wasn't actually depicted.
It was always a struggle to find where
it was struggle. It was a struggle, and now it wasn't. So something changed. I don't know. It must be Barbara Hunt.
It must
doing
be
a good
me.
job.
Yeah.
But that was nice that it was actually depicted, and I could
It's just
find
the
it.
trick of starting with A, right? We were on the top floor.
Started with
Well, I also have to shout out to Oakland Airport, the Port of
Yeah.
Oakland. I have to tell you, they have been day one when we reached out to them and said, we're coming in. They've been outstanding to work with. Everybody there, TSA there, gate operations, property management, everything. They've just been fantastic. Their marketing team, everything.
So the customer service, we dealt with a guy. I remember what he looked like. He was kind of frizzy hair, super nice guy at Oakland Air. He's one of your employees. He's not just a general airport employee, right?
Oh, at Oakland, the staff inside the terminal is our staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ground handlers is an agent acting on our
Okay,
behalf.
We call it
But,
below wing and above wing.
yeah. So above wing, the people at the ticket counter and
Yeah.
at the gate are
Customer
our
service,
employees.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
hats off.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was
I
so
do
nice. Remember him? It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, everything's going to be fine. Go, it was just it was a good experience as we found everybody. So you've got a bunch of happy employees. So congratulations.
Well, that's
to
what
you.
we say also. Happy employees make happy customers.
That's right. That
So,
really
Barbara,
does.
where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years.
You're going to be 35.
I'm going to be, knocking on the door of 40.
knocking on the door? For,
5 to 10 years. This is my retirement life here. I worked for another company for many, many years and then came to work for Advanced Air, and I said, this is it for me. I'm going to be here until it's time to retire.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about it is there is never a day that's dull or boring or drags, ever. There's always something different going on, something new and exciting. Some days are more stressful than others.
Yeah.
We all have that. But this is I'll end my career here.
All right.
cool.
Maybe not in 5 to 10 years.
Maybe
but
not in
let me
5 to
know.
10
Hey,
years.
Doc,
Good.
even though you don't have a microphone, I'm going to ask you in about a couple of minutes what is your one question that you'd like to ask them. So you could just tell us, but I'll give you a couple of minute notice.
So tell us now, this is the time to shine. What are your scheduled perks, specials, anything that you want to tell us online? I mean, on air right now?
You don't have a frequent flyers plan, right?
We don't. We have a ticket book program that we do in other areas that we're working through. It's not live here in Crescent City, but we'll hopefully have it in the next few months. One of the bigger pieces is we're having an airline agreement starting with Alaska Airlines.
Cool.
So what that means is you could book from here and go to Oakland, and your bag will move onto an Alaska airplane and meet you at your destination.
Nice. Yeah.
And for the community, it opens up more eyeballs on this option, right? So you go to Alaska Airlines and you book a ticket straight through to Crescent City. So that's a big thing that we hope to have live in the next, I'd say, 60 days. And then flights to Hawthorne. Hawthorne's booking like crazy, and we're adding Saturdays. When is that?
It'll be next summer that we'll add Saturdays. Right now we're Thursdays and Sundays.
Yeah, so next summer you'll have Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Whoa.
And if you haven't flown into Hawthorne, you get
We have not yet.
a real good piece of what flying private is, because you go right into the private terminal. If you have a rental car, it's right there. If you need to go to LAX, we have a shuttle waiting for you. There's a restaurant right there. And if you need a taxi or an Uber's the way to go. You just hit a button, it picks you up right there, and your bags are there. There's no waiting. It's very
Right
simple.
on.
So for my mom, if she were to come again and flying into, because that's what I said, maybe you can fly into LAX and then go
Yeah,
to
we were having
Hawthorne
flyer-
and then
we were
up.
flyer-
And my brother in Germany says, no, you can't. My mom is 86. You cannot make her do that. And I thought it was easy. I don't know. I've never done it. Is it relative?
We actually do, and again, it's our employees that drive the shuttles between LAX and Hawthorne. And we have 3 routes that come into Hawthorne out of Merced, Mammoth, and Crescent City. And we do the shuttles back and forth to LAX all the time.
When you book your ticket, there's a drop down that says, "Do you want the shuttle?"
Oh,
Right
I
on.
see.
And it's included. There's no extra cost.
How about
for the
baggage?
shuttle.
You mentioned earlier when we were pre-show, but you said that bags are one check on unless it's excessive weight.
Yeah, we allow 50 pounds
Okay.
per passenger, whether that's 1 bag or 2 bags, just the 50 pounds.
But you
That's
actually
the
have to
checked
get
bag.
weight, right?
Yeah, we got weight
The
for
bag,
the first time.
the bag, not the person.
Wait, when we went to Germany, remember we went to, they said, "Do you need to,
Yeah, with the bag.
That was the guy messing with you because you called the planet Guppy. He was like, "Give me this."
I promise we don't make passengers get on a scale.
Remember, though, you
just
have
the
to
bag.
be less than 350 pounds, right? It says you cannot be more than 350 pounds. You cannot
is that
fly
the new
with
thing?
us.
Is that the new thing? 350?
That might be for the King Airs because the seats. That's for the smaller airplane, the King Airs that we fly in New Mexico because of the seat capacity.
Okay.
And you can bring pets.
And you can bring pets.
Really? Where do they go?
Well,
kind
it
of
depends on the size, but if it's a bigger dog, you have to book a ticket, and smaller dogs, on your lap. Or
Let's say,
running.
what's the strangest animal you've seen besides turtles?
I don't know that I've seen anything besides
I don't
cats
think
and
so.
dogs.
I mean, there's nothing.
And I do think TSA only allows cats and dogs. I don't know.
Apparently
Well,
turtles.
apparently turtles,
Turtles,
but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
because you had a turtle toe.
Turtle
Yeah,
toe.
I had a turtle. So. And the story. Doc Bellardi, what would you like to ask?
I'd like to see if they can get more information to my company so I can spread it out to my customers throughout the globe.
Yeah.
Because I deal with a lot of international people, which I'm going to introduce some of the people.
So you're asking again what we kind of asked before. The phone number is is it Advanced Airlines?
It's advancedairlines.com.
Okay.
We're also on Instagram and Facebook at Advanced Airlines. And bookings email is bookings, bookings at flyadvancedair.com.
No, you can also book flights on Google.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Google, Expedia, Kayak, all of those.
Yeah.
You'll find us anywhere.
Which is also very nice and not how it was before.
Doc Bellardi has one more question. What is it, Doc?
Question, if you want to charter a jet or something, is that a special queue or do you just go to the website?
You can, if you go to the flyadvancedair.com website, there's a place to click to go specifically to charters,
Or advancedaircharters.com.
advancedaircharters.com. And then the email address for that would be flights@flyadvancedair.com.
Cool.
Yeah, you can actually go to advancedaircharters.com and enter any route in the world. It'll give you a price on the spot.
So you can fly anywhere and everywhere. Do you have to have some kind of international flight, some certificate? You do.
We have, it's called Worldwide Ops, and so there's a lot that goes into it, and And we have that. Yeah.
Do they all the pilots have to have it when they? If they
Only the pilots that fly the airplanes that can go
Okay.
international. Yeah.
Wow, really cool. Do they have to speak a different language too?
English is the international.
Yeah.
That's the universal language.
Right. Whatever.
Aviation. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Amazing. We have been talking with Levi Stockton and Barbara Hunt from Advanced Air today. We've got about 6 minutes left, and before we close, we're going to have a few fun time corner and talk with them. Thank you you've had a busy day, right? You flew up thinking you were going to come into the K-Fog studios in Crescent City, but the weather got ahead of you. And I'm just glad that everything happens for a reason, right?
Yep.
I just like the fact that he said, yeah, Barbara, do you see the runway yet? Sort of going through the fog.
It's like, gee, I didn't know I was going to have to do this.
Is this just like second nature to you, Levi, to see that kind of? I mean, you go through fog and clouds all the time.
Yeah, it's a more exciting flight than just a perfect day. So
Perfect day, yeah.
Shooting approach to minimums doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's fun.
Do you skirt thunderstorms? You go way around them?
Yeah, at least 20 miles is what
That's what you're advised to do?
Yeah.
Because but these planes can get hit by lightning. Just
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been
But
hit
it
by
doesn't
lightning?
go anywhere, right?
Yeah, I've been hit by lightning.
But it doesn't go. It's
There's static wicks on the planes, but usually you can see where it came in and where it goes out, and you have to inspect it. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, scary.
Really?
Some cases, like the older planes, your avionics would flicker or go out. But
What's the most interesting plane you've ever flown?
plane on floats in Alaska is probably the most
Really?
fun. Yeah.
So you land on the water.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dang.
How cool is that? Listen, folks,
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was
you've been
so
listening to Levi
interesting.
Stockton and Barb Hunt
Right.
from Advanced Air. They are servicing our area immediately. So many of us have been using it in the Brookings area, Crescent City and beyond. We are using the airline. Thank you for being in the airport, bringing your service to us up here on our lost coast, the northernmost coast. We'd welcome you any time in the future to please come back on. We'll have an update about it maybe, and we'll keep in touch with you. And just, again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate your
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So
Thank you so
interesting.
much for having us.
So interesting, yeah. This is cool. All right, Doc. What have we got? We got the what have we?
Fun time,
the fun time, man. Okay, now get
I'm
ready
a little
for some
scared of
good
this.
jokes. Get ready. Yeah, you're gonna hear the best jokes ever.
Yeah, pretend they're funny and laugh.
Well,
No, they're funny this time. Okay, I'll start with a quote.
okay. Give me a good quote.
So this is a cool one. Humanity must rise above the earth to the top of the atmosphere and beyond to fully understand the world in which we live.
Oh, that's not the one by Socrates, is it?
It is the one from Socrates.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, right?
He's writing that 3,000 years ago, right? Man, woman, humanity.
Little nerd there.
Humanity must
Knowing it
rise above the
already.
earth. All right, everybody, who invented the first plane that couldn't fly? The Wrong Brothers. Okay, good. Good. See, I made them laugh. All right. All right, hit me with another quote, Doc.
Okay. Flying feels too godlike to be attained by mortals. Sometimes the world from above seems too beautiful, too wonderful for human eyes to see.
Charles Lindbergh.
Charles Lindbergh. He has been there a little bit.
Yeah, he saw in the early days. Doc, I did have a really good airplane joke to share with you,
Yeah? What was
but I think it'll go over your head. Okay. Hey, what do you call it, doctor, when you get sick and tired of airports?
A what?
Terminal illness. I think that was one of the best
funny.
ones. Okay. Well, give us another quote.
Okay, another cool one. Early takeoff is optional. Every takeoff is optional. Every landing is
It's
mandatory.
mandatory. I like that one.
Leonardo
That's
da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci, another one. Whoa.
Right?
What do you call a flying primate? A hot air baboon. Okay, they're going downhill. They're going down bad. What kind of chocolates do they sell at airports? Doc?
Chocolates?
Yeah, what kind of chocolate?
What?
Just plain chocolate.
Those are for people who know how to
Like I
spell.
said, when we flew to Germany last month, a few months ago, they were so cheap, they charged us for emotional baggage. Sure. All right, give us one more hit and we got to go.
Okay, yeah, we got to go. Okay, we're going to go already. All right, the time flew again during this week's live radio variety show on AA, meaning Advanced Airlines, of course. You have been listening to Doc and Jacques on KCRW LP 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon. We hope you have enjoyed the show with Mark and Levi.
Yeah, thanks, Levi. Thanks, Barbara. Look forward to talking to you next week when we have Cara, a taxi cab driver coming on. Talk to you then. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.